The BET Awards turned into pure chaos when Papoose shocked the world by publicly announcing his marriage to Claressa right there on stage. But while the audience gasped, one person's reaction shook the entire building. Remy Ma in tears, walking out as cameras caught every heartbreaking second. What really went down behind the scenes? Was this betrayal planned all along? Or did Remy just watch her world crumble in front of millions? Tonight, we uncover the truth about hip-hop's most shocking love scandal. The BET Awards have always been known for surprise performances, emotional tributes, and unforgettable moments. But this year, what was supposed to be a celebration of hip-hop culture turned into one of the most shocking, heartbreaking spectacles in award show history. The cameras were rolling, the crowd was roaring, and in the middle of it all, Papoose, the man known for his undying loyalty to Remy Ma, dropped a bombshell no one was prepared for. Standing on that stage, all eyes on him, Papoose proudly announced that he was now married. But not to Remy. Instead, he called out the name Claressa, leaving the entire room stunned. Gasps filled the arena, social media exploded within seconds, and the cameras quickly caught what everyone was desperate to see: Remy Ma's face. And it was a face that told the entire story without a single word. Shock, betrayal. Tears streaming as she stood, shook her head, and walked out in front of the world. For years, Remy and Papoose have been celebrated as one of hip-hop's strongest couples. Their love story was one of resilience and loyalty, with Papoose standing by her side during her prison sentence, never wavering, never giving up. Their relationship was a symbol of Black love, of dedication, of weathering the storm no matter how rough it got. So, when fans saw Remy walk out of the BET Awards in tears, it wasn't just her heartbreak they were witnessing. It was the destruction of a love story people had admired for over a decade. But how did it come to this? Insiders are now revealing what really happened behind the scenes, and the story is far more complicated than the few seconds that aired on live TV, according to those close to the situation. Tensions between Remy Ma and Papoose had been building for months. Rumors had already begun circulating that Papoose had been spending a lot of time with Claressa, a woman whose name was whispered in industry circles long before the BET Awards fiasco. At first, many dismissed it. Papoose had built his entire reputation on being loyal to Remy, so the idea of him stepping out seemed impossible. But whispers turned into conversations, and conversations turned into accusations. Behind closed doors, Remy was said to be growing increasingly frustrated. She confronted Papoose about Claressa multiple times, but sources say he always denied there was anything more than a friendship. Still, the tension lingered. The couple's once solid bond began to show cracks, with arguments becoming more frequent and trust slowly eroding. So when Papoose took that BET stage and announced a marriage to Claressa, it wasn't just shocking. To fans, it was a dagger to Remy's heart. Insiders claim she had no idea what he was about to say. She came to the awards show expecting to celebrate the culture, maybe even share a few moments of joy with the man she thought was still hers. Instead, she was blindsided in front of millions. Eyewitnesses backstage described the scene as pure chaos. Remy, with tears streaming down her face, stormed out with her team trying to follow her. She reportedly yelled, "How could you do this to me?" After everything. Before disappearing from the arena, security tried to block cameras from getting too close, but the damage was already done. Clips of her emotional exit flooded the internet, within minutes, sparking endless debate and speculation. Fans were divided. Some immediately defended Remy, pointing out the years she had sacrificed for Papoose, including the time she spent locked away while he remained faithful. Others began questioning whether Papoose's loyalty had ever been as solid as it seemed. And then there were those who speculated about Claressa, who she was, how long she had been in the picture, and why Papoose chose that moment to make such a public declaration. Insiders believe the announcement wasn't spontaneous. They claim Papoose had been planning it for weeks, coordinating with bet producers who thought the shocking reveal would boost ratings. If that's true, it means Papoose knowingly set up one of the most humiliating moments of Remy Ma's life live on national television. The fallout was immediate. Within hours, hashtags like #PrayForRemy and #PAPOOSE betrayal began trending worldwide. Memes flooded Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok with fans dissecting every frame of Remy's tearful walkout. Influencers and bloggers jumped on the story, with some calling it the ultimate betrayal in hip-hop love history. Others accused Bet of exploiting a deeply personal moment for clout. But perhaps the most heartbreaking response came from Remy's closest friends. Fat Joe, who has always considered Remy a little sister, reportedly called her within minutes of the incident, offering support and reminding her of her strength. Cardi B, another Bronx native who has always shown Remy love, posted a cryptic message on Instagram. "Loyalty ain't just a word. It's a lifestyle. Some people forget that." Fans quickly linked the post to the situation, fueling even more speculation. Meanwhile, Papoose has remained silent. He left the bet stage with Claressa by his side, avoiding questions and refusing interviews. That silence has only fueled the fire, leaving fans desperate for answers. Did he really marry Claressa? Or was this some kind of stunt? And if it was real, why did he choose to announce it in such a public, humiliating way? For Remy, the pain is undeniable. Insiders say she hasn't stopped crying since that night. Friends describe her as broken, betrayed, and humiliated. One source close to her revealed, Remy feels like her whole world collapsed in front of cameras. She gave that man everything, and he threw it away for a moment of clout. But as much as this story is about heartbreak, it's also about power. Remy Ma is no stranger to adversity. She's faced prison time, industry shade, and public scrutiny before. Each time, she came back stronger, proving her resilience and cementing her place in hip-hop. The question now is, can she rise again after such a public betrayal? The Bet Awards were supposed to be a night of celebration. Instead, they became the scene of one of the most shocking betrayals the culture has ever witnessed. And as the dust settles, one thing is clear. This is only the beginning of a scandal that will rock the industry for months to come. Because behind the cameras, behind the headlines, there's a deeper story, one that involves years of loyalty, hidden secrets, and a love triangle that no one saw coming. And in part 2, we'll dive deeper into the mystery woman herself, Claressa. Who is she? How did she become entangled with Papoose? And why was Remy Ma left blindsided on the biggest stage in hip-hop? The name Claressa is on everyone's lips, but the mystery surrounding her has only fueled the storm. Who exactly is she? And how did she end up standing next to Papoose during one of the most public betrayals in hip-hop history? At first glance, Claressa is not a mainstream name in music. She isn't a chart-topping rapper or a household celebrity. But within certain circles, insiders say her presence has been quietly growing. Claressa has reportedly been connected to the industry through behind-the-scenes work, event organizing, artist management, and even minor appearances in music videos. Those who know her describe her as ambitious, determined, and someone who knows how to work a room. But ambition alone doesn't explain how she managed to come between one of hip-hop's most admired couples. Sources close to the situation claim that Papoose first met Claressa during a private industry event last year. At the time, he was there representing Remy for a project she couldn't attend. What started as casual conversation reportedly developed into frequent meetings with Claressa, positioning herself as someone who could help expand Papoose's brand. Insiders now suggest those meetings quickly blurred the line between business and personal. But here's the twist. Friends of Remy Ma claim she had suspicions early on. She allegedly confronted Papoose about the late-night phone calls, the secretive messages, and the unexplained absences. Papoose brushed it off, insisting Claressa was simply a business connection and that Remy had nothing to worry about. Trusting the man who stood by her through prison, Remy tried to push the doubts aside. After all, this was Papoose, the man who made loyalty his brand. The man who waited years for her freedom. How could she believe he would ever betray her? Yet, betrayal is exactly what unfolded on the bet stage. Industry. Insiders say the bet producers were blindsided by the drama too. While there are reports that Papoose hinted at making a big announcement, no one expected it to be this. Some believe Claressa may have pushed for the public reveal, knowing it would cement her place in the spotlight. Others suggest Papoose himself wanted to make a statement, a bold, unapologetic move to show that he had moved on. Either way, the result was chaos, and the backlash has been brutal. Social media detectives wasted no time digging into Claressa's background. Old photos, alleged connections, and even screenshots of private messages began circulating within hours. Some fans claim she had been dropping hints about her relationship with Papoose for months, using cryptic captions and subtle references to loyalty and building an empire together. Whether those hints were overlooked or ignored, they now serve as evidence that this wasn't as sudden as it appeared. Remy Ma, meanwhile, has been left reeling. Insiders close to her say she feels like her entire foundation has been ripped away. For years, she built her brand not just on her music, but also on her image as part of a power couple. Fans adored her and Papoose for being relationship goals, the proof that love could survive anything. Now that image has been shattered, and Remy is left not only to grieve the betrayal, but to face the humiliation of it being broadcast to millions. Friends say the pain has been unbearable. She's heartbroken, but she's also angry. 1. Insiders shared it wasn't just about cheating, it was about being humiliated on the biggest stage in front of her peers. That cut deeper than anything. And while Remy's tears broke the internet, Papoose's silence has only made things worse. His refusal to address the backlash has painted him as cold and unapologetic in the eyes of fans. Some believe he's hiding because he knows the truth will destroy his carefully crafted image. Others think he's doubling down, refusing to explain himself because he's fully committed to Claressa. Whatever the reason, his silence speaks volumes. But let's not forget Claressa's role in all this. Many fans see her as the villain, the woman who came between a legendary love story. The internet has been ruthless with her social media, pages flooded with insults, threats, and accusations. Yet insiders claim Claressa is unbothered. In fact, some suggest she's embracing the spotlight, telling friends privately that Remy's era is over and it's my time now. If true, those words could ignite an even deeper firestorm. The industry is split. Some artists have publicly sided with Remy, offering her support and love during this devastating time. Others have remained silent, not wanting to get caught in the crossfire. And then there are whispers of those who quietly congratulate Claressa, seeing her as a bold new player who managed to turn the tables on one of hip-hop's strongest unions. But let's be clear, this is not just gossip. This is a cultural earthquake. Papoose and Remy weren't just another couple. They were a symbol, and symbols matter. For years, their story gave hope to people who believed in loyalty, in love that could survive even the harshest trials. By aligning himself with Claressa, Papoose hasn't just betrayed Remy. He's betrayed the very narrative that made him beloved in the first place. As for Remy, insiders say she is slowly regaining her composure. She's angry, yes, but she's also determined not to let this betrayal define her. If anyone can rise from this, it's Remy, a close friend said. She's been through worse, and she always comes out stronger. This time won't be any different. But even with her strength, the pain is undeniable. For a woman who gave so much of herself to love, to family, to loyalty, to be discarded so publicly feels like a wound that may never heal. And yet, in the ashes of betrayal, a new narrative is forming. Fans are rallying behind Remy, reminding her that she doesn't need Papoose to define her worth. She is an icon, a pioneer, a force of nature. If anything, this moment might be the spark that reignites her career in ways no one could have predicted. But the questions linger. How long has this been going on? Why did Papoose choose that moment to make the announcement? And most importantly, what's next for Remy Ma, a woman whose tears told a story that words never could? In part 3, we'll unravel the aftermath, the industry fallout, Remy's possible next moves, and how this scandal could permanently reshape the legacies of not just Remy Ma and Papoose, but Claressa as well. Because this story is far from over, and the truth may be even darker than anyone imagined. The dust has barely settled since that jaw-dropping Bet Awards moment, but the aftershocks are still shaking the industry. Papoose's announcement that he had married Claressa wasn't just a betrayal of Remy Ma, it was the collapse of a love story that millions believed in. And now the fallout is spiraling out of control. Social media is a battlefield. Hashtags like hashtag Stand With Remy and hashtag PAPOOSE exposed have dominated trending lists for days. Fans have unleashed their fury, calling Papoose a hypocrite who preached loyalty while secretly building a new life with another woman. Claressa, meanwhile, has been thrust into the spotlight as the most hated woman in hip-hop. Every post she makes is flooded with thousands of angry comments, and every move she makes is dissected by an internet that refuses to let her rest. But here's the twist. Claressa seems to be leaning into the attention. Instead of hiding, she's been posting cryptic captions about real love, new beginnings, and winning despite the hate, To her critics, this is proof she doesn't care about the devastation she caused. To her supporters, a small but growing group, it's a sign of confidence, of someone who refuses to be silenced. The narrative is polarizing and the drama is only intensifying. Meanwhile, Remy Ma has been unusually quiet. No interviews, no posts, no statements. Her silence has become louder than words, leaving fans desperate to know how she's processing this public humiliation. Insiders claim she is still in shock, alternating between anger and heartbreak. Some say she's considering legal action, not against Claressa, but against Papoose, because if reports are true that he coordinated with bet producers for the public announcement, Remy may have grounds to sue for emotional damages. But more importantly, people are asking what's next for Remy. She has two choices. She can retreat, lick her wounds and allow this scandal to overshadow her career. Or she can rise, reclaim her narrative, and remind the world why she's one of the toughest voices in hip-hop. Insiders suggest she's leaning toward the latter. According to close friends, Remy has already started writing new music, raw, emotional tracks that may address the betrayal head-on. She releases them, this scandal could be the spark that reignites her career in the most dramatic way possible. Industry reactions have been just as explosive. Fat Joe reportedly confronted Papoose privately, demanding answers for humiliating someone he considers family. Cardi B, who has always admired Remy, is said to be pushing her to focus on her craft and not let the betrayal consume her. Even Nicki Minaj, once Remy's fiercest rival, posted a simple prayer emoji on Twitter that fans interpreted as solidarity. For once, the industry seems to agree on one thing. Remy didn't deserve this. But while Remy gathers her strength, Papoose is facing a different reality. His brand has taken a massive hit. For years, he built his image around loyalty and devotion to his wife. That image is gone. Fans are calling him a fraud, sponsors are reconsidering partnerships, and his once respected name is now synonymous with betrayal. Even those who sympathize with him admit the way he handled the situation. Blindsiding Remy in front of millions was cruel and unnecessary. Still, Papoose seems unbothered. Insiders claim he's been spending nearly all his time with Claressa, shielding her from the backlash and reassuring her that they'll weather the storm together. Whether this is true love or a rebound wrapped in defiance remains to be seen. One thing is certain, Papoose has chosen his side and he's not looking back. And then there's Claressa. Who is she beyond the scandal? Industry whispers suggest she's been waiting for this moment, seeing herself as the next big name in hip-hop culture, not as an artist but as a figure in her own right. Some even speculate she may be eyeing reality television opportunities, capitalizing on the attention. If so, this could be the beginning of a media storm that keeps her name in the headlines for months to come. But the question remains, at what cost? Because for every opportunity Claressa may gain, she risks being forever branded as the woman who broke Remy Ma's heart. In an industry that thrives on loyalty, that stigma may be impossible to shake. As the story unfolds, the lines are being drawn. Fans, artists, and even media outlets are choosing sides, Team Remy or Team Papoose. And while some argue that relationships are complicated and we may never know the full truth, the optics are clear. A woman who stood by her man through prison, who defended his name for years, was left humiliated in tears at one of the biggest nights in music. That image alone is enough to tarnish Papoose's legacy forever. But here's the bigger picture. This scandal isn't just about love and betrayal. It's about power, image, and control. It's about the dangers of building your brand on a narrative you can't live up to. And it's about the resilience of women like Remy Ma who refuse to be defined by the actions of others. In the end, this Bet Awards shocker may not ruin Remy. It may elevate her, because pain, when channeled into art, becomes power. And if Remy decides to tell her story through her music, she could transform this heartbreak into one of the most iconic comebacks hip-hop has ever seen, for Papoose and Claressa. However, the road ahead looks rocky. They may believe their love is strong enough to withstand the backlash. But history has shown that the culture never forgets betrayal. And the sight of Remy walking out in tears will haunt them both for the rest of their careers. So as the world watches this love triangle unravel, one truth remains undeniable. Remy Ma is a fighter. She's survived worse. And whether she chooses silence, music, or a complete reinvention, one thing is certain, her story is far from over. And there you have it, the Bet Awards moment that turned hip-hop upside down. Papoose's shocking announcement, Claressa's sudden rise, and Remy Ma's heartbreaking walkout have left fans stunned, furious, and divided. But the question is, where do you stand? Do you believe Papoose and Claressa are truly in love? Or was this nothing more than a cruel betrayal staged in front of millions? And most importantly, will Remy Ma rise from this devastation to reclaim her throne, or has this scandal left a scar too deep to heal? We want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts, theories, and reactions in the comments below, because this conversation is far from over. And if you think this story is done, think again. The fallout is only beginning. And the next chapter could be even